Morning, everyone. I guess we're going to get started. Nice to see a big crowd. Can you hear me out back there? Good. Uh, my name is Marcel Arsenault. I'm the current chair of the Woodlot Owners Association right now. I'd like to welcome everybody here. Nice to see a big crowd. This association was started in 2012 in Ira Smith's kitchen. Ira Smith's sitting right here in Freeland. There was half a dozen of us. I never got involved in directors just lately. I was just a silent member for years. Thought I could sneak away with that sometimes. So anyway, it's a big crew compared to 6 people. So we have a busy agenda today, so I'll try to run that fast. So I'd like to, the washrooms are over there in the back there. And if anybody, we can't go down to the basement, it'll trigger an alarm. So we put the coat rack against the door there, so don't sneak into the basement. And for those who smoke, it's 15 feet from the building. Outside, I didn't have time to go up there, so there's a can there that you can put your cigarette butts. So I'd like to introduce the board of directors. We have here, someone might be still working at the door, but today we have a color code on our name tags. So I'm from Prince County, green is from Queens County, and red is from Kings County. So if you want to talk to members from your county, you can see it by the color codes. And if you want to talk to the directors, we have a little logo for the directors, so you know who the directors for which county. Those that, the other ones, they don't have the logo. So for Prince County, there's Bruce Craig, I think he said he had to step out. And John Arthur, you want to stand up, John? And, Bruce and John and myself, we represent Prince County. So for Queens County, we have Doug Milligan. Where's Doug? You here? You might be at the door there. And we have Rob Crawford in the back, and Washington Hemphill over there. So they represent Queens County. And for Kings County, we have Jane Bolesky. She's over there. She's our vice chair. And we have Trudy White over there. And she's our treasurer. So we like. And we have Charlie Hicken. I don't know if he's here. And he was from Kings County. And Judy Shaw from Queens County. She couldn't make it today. But they both were directors and they moved on, so we're going to try to fill some space. We try to have 4 directors each county. So if anyone's interested to be a director, we'd be happy to accommodate you. Let's see. So if you're interested in joining, just talk to any of us around the little logo there with directors, and then we have a director annual meeting this afternoon for the members. So if anybody's interested, we'll bring you in. And if you've never been a director, don't worry, you can try it out, and if you don't like it, you can always resign. It won't affect your pension or anything. You just move away, that's all. Just try it, and if you're not sure, we'll take anybody, we're desperate. So, anyway. And then we have the directors. Usually we hold our meetings on Zoom, so it saves travel time and mileage because we represent the whole island, so Zoom doesn't take very long. And a few times a year we all meet together, so we get to know each other. And so it doesn't take that much time on Zoom, we found, since we started that at COVID, and it worked pretty good, because it takes a lot of time just driving an hour or two to a meeting and then back home, so this way it works really good. So we have tons of door prizes, we got them on the table there. So we have the two color-coded tickets, and one color is for members, and the other color is for everyone here in attendance. So we have some of the prizes will be for members only. We'll draw mostly those at the annual meeting. So that's how it's working today. So if you plan to join our association or you're not up to date, I recommend you do it now, because if you want to have it eligible for all the prizes, then it'd be good if you're a member. So we try to encourage membership. That's why we have some prizes only for members. And also, if you're a member, you can receive a discount from the Atlantic Forestry Review magazine. We have a discount with them for our members. It's a magazine that covers forestry issues for the Maritimes. And also we have been working with quite a few businesses that are going to give us discounts for members, so we're pretty well ready to roll that out pretty soon. We haven't quite that finished yet. So last summer we hired a couple of part-time employees. We hired Sarah J. She's at the door there doing a very good job of registering people in through funding from the Department of Forestry. She works part-time. And we also hired Chelsea Boudreau. We had another project with it's a long word, PI Forested Landscape Priority Plates for Species at Risk, called it the FLPP. So she worked for us, and that project is ended, so she went on to get other employment. And so both of them have been an enormous help to us. They really, really do a great job. And because we're just volunteers, so it takes a lot of work, as you see, organizing this and that, so it's great to have some help. So I'll go over some of the projects we've been working this year, so you know we haven't just been sitting there and playing Scrabble or something in our Zoom meetings. So one, we do a quarterly newsletter, goes on our website 4 times a year, and that's Doug Milligan. He's with the Queens County. He's our main guy doing that. He's really good at writing, and he does in-depth articles, and he puts a lot of work into it. And this year he did some reports on wetlands, biodiversity, the forestry commissions, the final report, and mass timber at the Confederation Center. I don't know if you guys know, but they're building now with mass timber that can replace steel, so that's encouraging for woodlot owners, because that's renewable, better than steel. And did an article on the emerald ash borer. We have quite a few invasive species that come from different areas, and the butternut canker and the oak wilt. And also did a report on the 2 billion tree program. That's still, we thought it had ended, but it's still going for a while and along. And also Doug also writes a quarterly report to the Atlantic Forestry Review. A lot of owners and associations, they write reports in the Atlantic Forestry magazine there, so we can see what's going on in these projects. We also do work with the Don't Move Firewood campaign. That's a campaign because a lot of firewood has disease in it, especially they've had outbreaks in New Brunswick, Nova Scotia. We try to discourage people from bringing firewood from those areas. They have been at the entry point of the bridge and ferry where people can, if they got firewood with them, they can load them there and take some island firewood. So there's a lot of, especially with global warming, a lot of new insects and invasive species that come in the Maritimes now that we didn't have before, so they could spread pretty fast, and it's hard to stop them. So we got involved with them. We're involved with the PI Invasive Species Council, and then so we do quite a bit of work with that. I won't have time to go into too many details because we're pressed for time. So I tried to read what I had written there, but it took about half an hour. I only got 15 minutes, so I just speed it up. We also promote programs including the forest enhancement program that the province has for woodlot improvement and silviculture work and tree planting. And we also work with the Fire Smart Association to work with them. The Fire Smart is an organization that because of the wildfires all across the country, to try to help lessen the chance of houses burning and clean woodlots so you don't have, especially people living in the woods. But like in Alberta, they had big fires, and some people had certain shrubs, and that started their housing fire. So stuff like that we don't think about, because the fire can spread very fast by embers. So if you live near the woods, you gotta change your policy that we used to have years ago. And in January, 2 of our board members attended a meeting introducing the province on the new ecosystem management standards manual that they put out this year, and I think Joe is going to do a presentation on that today. And let's see now. So the Fire Smart, we had them in our last meeting, and we hosted the Fire Smart booth at the Charlottetown Fires Market and at the Women in Forestry seminar in March this year. And we're also planning to initiate a larger Fire Smart awareness event later this spring. I got too many pages here, I'm gonna lost somewhere. So we collaborate with many different groups like the McPhail's Woodlot, Advocates First Nation, Island Nature Trust, Sustainable Forest Alliance, and many others. So I'll just run through a list of events that we did there. There's a Coastal Forest Walk, David McRae and Cable Head. We did a low impact trail building techniques with Bruce McCollum in Hazel Grove. We had another Coastal Forest Walk at the Jacques Cartier Provincial Park. We had the Woodlot Owner of the Year Walk with Pat Binns and John Sperman and Jesse Arden in Hopefield. We had a Riparian Forest Walk with in Mooney's Pond. We had Adequate First Nation Sisters Trail Walk in Scottsburg. We had the Sustainable Forest Alliance Walk in Wood Islands, and Island Nature Trust Ecological Silviculture Walk in Farmington, and the Visual Forest Film Series launch in Charlottetown, and the Women in Forestry Seminar in Tracadie Cross. And so we had more than 400 people attended these walks and seminars. And then there's a lot of stuff that we did, the walks and that you can see on our website. So you can look it up with PI. You just gotta Google PIWOA and it pops up the first one. We're lucky, it always pops up the first one. You put that, our website pops up, and you can go in there, and we're planning to put the archives in there so you can see what we've been doing rather than let it expire, so you can see what we've been doing. And we also teamed up to promote the Festival of Forest and the Up West Forest Fest and the Winter Woodlot Tour. And so we're on the website, we have the Facebook, and then we have a branching out, another write-up that Sarah does every few weeks to give up what's going, to let people know what's going on. Also on the website, we published an updated list of the sawmills in PEI, so if people want to find out sawmills, and I think we listed those that sand lumber, if you want to know people close to the area, they easy search. And also we had some of our board members met with the national representatives of the Forest Stewardship Council to learn more about FCS certification. Can provide enhanced markets for local wood product and possibility carbon tariffs here on the island. And we also attended the Sustainable Forest Alliance annual general meeting a short while ago, and they're working to bring FCC certification opportunities in PEI, so we're trying to support them with that. And we also have met with the three ministers of forestry. They changed a lot over the years, the last 2 years. So, and we're talking about trying to get them to increase the stand lumber rules here at the island. You can only build small sheds with our own lumber. Besides that, you got to get stand lumber. The project was successful in doubling the amount that the government at first inputted. So maybe Susannah can talk about that when she does her presentation here. And we also did some CBC radio interviews, and we did a presentation to the Standing Committee on Natural Resources and Environment Sustainability. And we're also involved in helping to organize a contractors association. So that they used to have one in the island, so we're trying to, the Department of Forestry Commission, I recommended that they should get one going again, and the Department of Forestry asked us to help get that started, so we've been involved with them. And we also have a representative with the Canadian Forest Owners Association all across Canada. John Ramsey here, our director, is on the board, representing us here in PEI, and also we're involved with the PEI Federation of Agriculture, and Julie Shaw, who just resigned from director, but she agreed to stay on as our representative. And there's a lot, you know, majority of farmers all have woodlots, so she stayed involved with them. And so we're working to get discounts from businesses, and also we printed a trifold pamphlet to try to increase the awareness of our association and highlight the benefits of becoming a member. And we did an online survey to our members to see what they're interested in. We're going to try and get more involved with our members so we can get a broad idea of which direction we should go. So these are some of the projects we've been working on, and feel free to provide us with some feedback or comments today. And have yourself a great day. And I hope that you will enjoy all the great presenters we have here today. And we have 4 or 5 booths there with tables that you can talk to and to break in a dinner time. So I guess that's it for me. And we'll get going with our first presenter. Have a look here. Our first presenter will be Susannah Banks. Susannah was raised on a dairy farm and working woodlot in rural New Brunswick. She brings over 25 years of experience supporting rural landowners and communities. She's a professional agrologist with a background in agriculture from McGill University. She has led a major incentives in education, research, and best management practices across the forestry sector. And Susannah has served as the executive director of the New Brunswick Federation of Woodlot Owners for 10 years. And she's a board member of the Canadian Forest Owners Organization. She also owns and manages a 100-acre family woodlot that has been passed down for over 200 years, bringing both professional expertise and personal experience to her work. Susannah, she'll share insight on the New Brunswick Federal Woodlot Owners and the Canadian Forest Owners and the Canadian Forest Owners Group Insurance. This is the Canadian Forest Owners contacted, I think it's Broker Link, it's a broker for insurance, and they want to offer insurance to woodlot owners for your woodlots. So we signed up with them. We didn't have to make a commitment, but there's quite a few farms that signed up. So Susannah knows that pretty good. So that's it. I'll pass it over to Susannah.
Chris, where am I?
Password change. There's none of them. It's not on my computer. Somebody went to go find Jamie, it's her computer, so I don't know what the password is, I can't get me in. Oh, mine is for Jeff. Yes. It went to sleep when I got to so let me tell everybody my password. No, I didn't. No, it's fine. Yeah, no, it's different on there, so thank you, Jane. Thank you, everybody, for the invitation. I probably don't even need the mic. If I'm too loud, just let me know. So happy to be here. I'm really impressed with the number of people that you guys have, and after Marcel's talk, I'm not sure I can tell you anything that you don't already know. You seem to be doing a great job. I'm really impressed with the amount of work that you're able to do in the course of the year. And as Marcel says, I'm going to talk a little bit about the New Brunswick Federation, I'll talk a little bit about Canadian Forest Owners, and I'll talk about the insurance program that we now have. Well, let's hope this works. There we go. So, the Federation in New Brunswick, like the New Brunswick Federation of Woodlot Owners, has been around for almost 50 years. Next year will be our 50th anniversary. For the first 44 of those years, we were the umbrella organization for the 7 forest products marketing boards in New Brunswick. And as such, we were the way that the marketing boards could work collaboratively. We could provide one voice to government because marketing boards really aren't supposed to lobby, so we did the lobbying for them. We weighed in on policy positions or had met with government, and we were the people, my predecessors and myself are the people that became members of what used to be the Canadian Federation of Woodlot Owners and worked very closely with many other ENGOs and other groups in New Brunswick and brought that information back to the 7 Forest Products Marketing Board. It worked very well. Then in 2021, the New Brunswick Federation and the New Brunswick Forest Products Commission decided, well, they were mad at us, and so they decided that they went on, so they were mad at us. And so they decided they would investigate, and they decided that marketing boards could no longer be members of any organization, not only ours, but could not be members of any organization at all. So, what did that do to the Federation? Well, we went from having stable funding to marketing boards, having, 7 marketing boards as our members, those were our only members. And we had a structure that worked very well, and we could say we represented all the woodlot owners in New Brunswick, and that allowed us to get to that one stable voice. Following the ruling, we had no board members, so effectively no structure, and we had no funding. So that caused us to do a lot of work.
Hear it anyway.
And so we've changed considerably from being the umbrella organization for 7 marketing boards to now having individual memberships. So essentially we started over in 2022. And so that was a lot of work that impacted some of the other things that we were able to do because we spent so much time writing the bylaws and reinventing ourselves. And so we have 2 classes of members in New Brunswick. We have voting and non-voting members. And our non-voting members are people who don't own woodlots in order to vote. And that's only voting at the AGM. Non-voting members can participate in all of the benefits we offer. They can sit on the board. They just can't vote at the annual meeting. So if you don't own a woodlot, you can be a member. You just can't vote at the AGM. And that was somewhat sparked by the fear that mills and industry would overrun us if we allowed them to vote. So the new federation didn't really, we didn't change what we did, but we now have a funding and a structure, and we have funding, we still have a bit of a funding problem, and we have a structural problem that we fixed. So our vision is a dynamic and sustainable network of private forest owners, very similar to what you guys look to do here. And our mission is to promote sustainably managed private forest resources that contribute to the economic, social, environmental, and cultural well-being of rural New Brunswick. And we do this by providing information and updating members. We have a newsletter. We coordinate educational opportunities for our members and non-members as well, and developing and implementing projects of interest to woodlot owners. So we have a 2 billion tree program, and we've had a few projects that related to climate change and how to make your woodlot resistant to climate change. Hopefully this year we'll have something on fire. And we collaborate with like-minded people, and we have a number of organizations that we work with: Nature Trust of New Brunswick, Canadian Federation of Canadian Forest Owners, Conservation Council of New Brunswick. Like there's a large, same as Marcel was talking about, the wide network that you work with to promote woodlots and to make sure that woodlot owners are aware of everything that's important to them. And we're forced to advocate on behalf of woodlot owners. Now, Marcel, you had a question about how to get to fix the stamped lumber problem. I don't know that I have a really good answer. You just have to mobilize your people to talk to your MLAs. That's the only reason way I know to make impact when it comes to government. The more people you can bug the government with individually, the more hope you have of getting an answer. And so we have approximately 200 members, so not large members considering how many we could have, because there's over 40,000 woodlot owners in New Brunswick. But we have a real identity problem because for 44 years, everybody assumed that because they belonged to a marketing board, they were a member of the Federation. And there are still people who still don't understand that that split has meant that you now need your own individual members to be a member of the Federation. So we need to work harder as a Federation. We need to work harder to improve that. We offer discounts to all of our events and webinars to our memberships, and we have something called Perkopolis, which is something that the Federation can sign up for free. You guys can sign up for free, and your members could by default get discounts on whatever Perkopolis offers discounts on, and it varies from month to month and different companies, and it's on a whole variety of things. It might be a trip, it might be hotel stays, it could be sneakers, it could be, like there's a whole range of things. But there's no cost to anybody, like to the Federation to join. And we also have that discount on the Atlantic Forestry Review. Our monthly newsletter seems to be the thing that our members tell us is their favorite part, or one of their favorite parts of being a member, because it's consistent, it's regular, and Tricia does a very good job of creating the newsletter and getting it out. And then we hope that the insurance can be a really driving factor in the coming year, 2 years, because it's, it's some time to raise the awareness, and it's actual money in your pocket. So All our other benefits are not put so much money in your pocket. But we know, not only for us, but for all organizations, getting people to sign up is a challenge. So membership is a challenge. We have discounts on events, and I know of a few people that they could have saved a membership fee quite easily by the number of events they took. They came to it a year had they just signed up, but they have yet to sign up. So what that barrier is, or that reluctance to just say, yes, I'm a member is, I don't have an answer. I know it's not only limited to us as woodlot owners, it is in all organizations, and it seems to be a trend. People will donate to a cause, but they're more reluctant to just sign up and say, I'm a member. So, just to let you know that you're not alone in the challenge of finding members. So, the insurance, we did try to get insurance in New Brunswick. We were unsuccessful in New Brunswick. We didn't have a big enough pool for insurance companies to be interested. So we've raised that challenge to Canadian forest owners. And because in Canada, there's 480,000 of us, we were able to have the numbers that insurance companies were interested. So Andrew DeVries, the CEO of Canadian Forest Owners, and I'm urging for myself and largely from Glen in Ontario, that woodlot owners are interested. We keep getting these calls, how do I get insurance? And we don't know where to send them, so if we could do something, it'd be great. So, and I put this slide up just kind of give you a sense of, this is from Canadian Forest Owners, but it gives you a sense of how big we are in Canada. We have 25 million hectares, which if we were a country would put us between Finland and Sweden in terms of how much forested land private landowners own. We don't get the recognition we deserve. So, this is another slide that we use when we go to Ottawa as Canadian Forest Owners, because people don't realize in Ottawa how important we are, how big we are. I mean, we're half the revenues from agriculture, and we are double what they get from fisheries. But do we get the recognition of fisheries? Not, right? People don't know, and they don't understand how much private land there is, and while we're only 10% of the forested land in Canada, we provide 20% of the forest products. And so we have like almost 7 times the number, more than 7 times the number of fishers, woodlot owners that there are fishers. And we're twice as many as woodlot or as agriculture, but we don't seem to have the same clout. So that's part of the mission of Canadian Forest Owners, is to raise that awareness in Ottawa. And we're doing this through membership. The Canadian Forest Owners is relatively new as well. There used to be the Canadian Federation of Woodlot Owners, of which all the associations in Canada were members, until Peter DeMarche died. Some of you may know Peter. He was a driving force. He founded Canadian Federation of Woodlot Owners, and he basically ran it for free. We gave him very minimal compensation, and he ran the organization. He was dedicated. And so I should put that down, hit buttons. So he was very dedicated, and so when he died, we really didn't have the resources as a number of provincial associations to support a staff person. So we joined with CAFO, Canadian Association of Forest Owners, which had the larger private landowners, and we merged. And so now we have more resources, and we're trying to raise that profile in Ottawa. It also gives us one voice in Ottawa, as opposed to the big guys versus the small guys. And as you can see, Canadian Forest Owners, this is a list of everybody's here except Forest Nova Scotia, who only joined last week. But we have members from coast to coast. We have big guys like Mosaic on the west coast. We have big guys like Irving on the east coast. And we have the provincial association. All provinces have a provincial association except for Saskatchewan and Newfoundland. Although we're hopeful that Newfoundland is in the process of creating one. So Canadian Forest Owners, when we merged, we ensured that there were 2 chambers, an association chamber where we could continue to meet as national associations and talk about the good things that everybody is doing, the challenges that everybody has, and to share information and knowledge. And there's a corporate chamber as well. So on the board, there's equal representation from each chamber, and we ensured that on the inception to make sure that the big guys didn't overrun those of us who represent the small guys. So Canadian Forest Owners, this is a quote from Andrew. You guys can read the quote from Andrew. We try to go to Ottawa at least twice a year, and Andrew does a number of other presentations and talks to people and the executive talk to people in Ottawa in between, but basically twice a year we try to go to Parliament Hill and just raise that awareness about how important we are and what the government could and senior officials could do to be more assistive to woodlot owners, because we're often forgotten. And in that picture that some of us that have gone to Ottawa, so there's Vincent Midin from Quebec, Jason Killen from Irving, myself, Dina Sinaway from Ontario, and Andrew from left to right, I guess. So, you know, we go and we make that pitch to NRCan and to the guys in government that, you know, you should think about us, we're big contributors. And we're trying to fill the knowledge gap, because we know that in the United States and in Europe, they have regular surveys. They know what's going on with the woodlots. We don't know. The last one in Canada was in 2003. So we have a postdoctoral student working out of McGill who is going to do a survey across Canada, and we're hoping to set it up in conjunction with CFS, so that there can be a regular updating of woodlot owner information in Canada that's national, and also that if provinces do it, that we use the same base data for certain questions so we can amalgamate that, because currently provinces do surveys, but none of the questions aren't the same, so you can't compile the data, you can't get a national picture. So we're working on that. Surveys are going to come out, I think it's in June, looking to have data collected over the summer and then have results by December. There'll probably be 2 scientific papers or 2 research papers come out of that, but we will get some of the data to take to Ottawa to help to while we can anecdotally say lots of things about private woodlots across Canada, we don't have good data, and we think good data helps us to make a better case. And so some of the things that we lobby for when we get to Ottawa is to ensure that private lands are recognized in trade agreements. Currently not. We've been lobbying for a long time, saying that private wood should be exempt from softwood lumber, because we're competing with American landowners. It's the same deal. It's private land. So we should have an exemption for that. And as you all know, EUDR is coming up in December, and that's challenging, because you have to get landowners to state in some way that their land is not being forested, and if it is, you can't sell into the EU, which largely impacts pellets and paper, and it's really tough for them because it's the little bits that are left over, right? It's not a tree, you've got to send them they have to be able to have shape files for every 4-hectare parcel, so it's a challenge for private woodlot owners. The mills are more taking care of that. And we also need to make sure that private lands are recognized in federal policy. As I'm sure you're all aware, every time they roll out money for the forestry sector, there's no way for us as woodlot owners to access any of that. There's no way for associations to access that. So we keep going and saying, we need to be part of this. You need to think about us when you design the policies so that we can, or the programs, so that we can actually participate. It's an uphill battle, but we keep going and keep making the pitch, and hopefully eventually we make some progress. And Andrew's been working with the buy Canadian wood procurement policies, trying to ensure that private wood can be part of that program. And we lobby that regulations are reasonable and respect private land, things such as Species at Risk, Migratory Birds Convention Act, or Fisheries Act. We're trying to make sure that the regulations make sense, and that we can actually do something about them on private lands, because they mostly designed. Currently, they're designing policy for crown lands, large tracts, and we just can't do anything. So we're trying to make them understand that, this just doesn't make any common sense. It's not implementable. And we've recently started to really try to make them understand, or make woodlot owners aware, and also make government aware of the issues with Aboriginal title and private property rights. While we recognize that reconciliation is necessary, and we support that, it's important for woodlot owners and all landowners to know that there's no constitutional protection for private land rights in our Constitution in Canada, but Aboriginal title is recognized. So these claims and these issues are making their way through the courts. Some have gone to the Supreme Court, others we assume will make their way through, and so it's important for us to try to raise that awareness that, there's no good answers currently. There's been cases in BC and they make the ruling, yes, they have Aboriginal title, and then everybody's going, how does this work? And people are just going like, So we'd like them to figure out how to make it work, before we're all in an issue with it. So, as part of the way that CFO wanted to, this provides the insurance program provides an additional benefit to CFO members. And we know that policies in Canada are expensive, and I forgot to speak, John Arthur, we also lobby, I forgot all about the PSSIP, so I'm gonna go backtrack. When we go to Ottawa, which we have been lobbying for an extensive period of time about a personal silviculture savings and investment program, which we currently just, not one of those long tail items, so we call it PSSIP. And what a PSSIP would be, it would be a program whereby you could put your harvest revenues into an account similar to an RSP. And so you could save on the income tax at the time of harvest, and then in the coming years, you could remove money from that savings account and use it for management, be it roads or silviculture or planting, tending. And so you would then have your income and your expenses in the same year, and you could write them off, and so it would save on that tax burden for woodlot owners. Because currently, we all know, you have a big harvest, you have it once in, 10 years, 20 years, 50 years, and the government wants their cut, like you get it all the time. So we've been lobbying for that. Politicians seem to accept that. We've yet to get it through Revenue Canada. They seem to be our stumbling block on how they want to implement it. But we will continue to raise that in Ottawa and hope to be helpful. So, insurance program was launched on March 18th. We've been working on this for, I want to say a year, but it seems like it's more than a year. It's probably 2 years since we raised it, and CFO went looking for brokers with a national scope who could potentially provide us with this program. And we started with 2 or 3 different insurance brokers, and we ended up with BrokerLink. And so we've been working with BrokerLink very closely for the last year, working to design the insurance programs that we currently have. So BrokerLink has a lot of experience in group policies. They've found carriers who are very experienced in this type of insurance because it's available in other countries. It's just not widely available or reasonably priced in Canada. And so it's been labeled as CFO Protect, and it's a group insurance program. So there are a number of kinds of insurance that are available, and you can get any one or multiples of these, depending on whatever you want. So there's forest damage, which covers ice, wind, and fire. There's vacant land liability insurance, and there's accidental death and dismemberment, and there's a personal line of group home and auto, which members can get. So we are also looking at additional coverages as we go forward. There's been interest in having insurance for trucking and logging contractors too. So we're having those discussions. We're going to try to move that forward, but we wanted to really get this first piece up and running before we try to tackle a new one. So the forest damage insurance. So forest damage, as I said, you've got wind, fire, and ice. You can choose to be any combination of those that you want to protect your woodlot from. It's a very flexible program. You can choose how much you want to insure your woodlot for, what coverages you want, what deductible you want. But there's kind of 2 classes. So there's the commercial side. There's probably, I don't know, if anybody in PEI has more than 2,000 hectares, that makes you have to be a member of CFO directly in order to access the insurance. Other than that, all other woodlot owners can access the insurance by being a member of your provincial association. So all of you who are members of PEI woodlot owners can access the insurance that way. People have questions, feel free to ask me. So this is a standing timber piece. There's a number of sub-limits. You can, depending on whether you pick the bronze, silver, or gold packages. You can pick, well, you know, like if you want debris removal, if you're limited, you want a limit of 10,000 or 30,000 or 50,000, you can make these selections when you go to get quoted on your insurance package. So it covers replanting, debris removal, firefighting, claims prep, and malicious damage. So those are the things that are under the program that you can get reimbursed for. Now, if there's any salvageable timber, that's yours. Outside of this, it doesn't impact any of these limits. That salvage value is yours to do as you wish with. So, this is my woodlot. I got them to quote mine so I could talk to something I knew. So I valued it at $80,000. I have 43 hectares. And so it's covered against fire, lightning, explosion, and aircraft. So that's just how that all gets included in fire. It's a bit strange, but, and then there's a wind damage one. I did not choose ice, because I have a very mixed forest and I didn't really think that I was too worried about ice damage, so I didn't choose that, but you can. So those are my sub-limits: $30,000 for firefighting, $50,000 for replanting, $10,000 for claims, and $50,000 for malicious damage. So my total limit that I could get if my whole woodlot got destroyed would be $80,000. I have a $5,000 deductible, and my premium is $560 a year. There is a bonding, there's an additional charge on top of that, about $100 just to write the policy. But that's 7% of the value. If your woodlot's large, you get a better rate. Yes?
What is malicious damage?
That would include things like people going in and dumping or breaking your trees, or destroying your trees, and
$50,000?
that's the limit.
Seems like an awful lot.
Yeah. It's just, I don't know where that's the limit.
That's essentially commercial theft, as it sounds like to me.
Yeah,
Would that be that, covering commercial theft?
I believe so. I'd have to go back and double check, but, yes.
Is there any sort of pieces, like if you had a camp or some sort of a building on, that there would be coverage for malicious damage or anything like that?
I don't know that question. As I go through, I'll give you Mark's number, and he could certainly answer that for you. I don't want to say, because I don't remember anybody asking that question, but it would make sense that it could be part of that, because young people can be short woodlots with structures on them.
What about dumping toxic waste?
That's under liability, yes,
That's not malicious damage, that's something else.
I believe so. I think that's under the woodlot liability insurance, but maybe not. Even though I've been talking about this for a year or more, I sometimes am not quite sure. But I do know there is coverage for that, and that may be the malicious damage piece. There are caveats around how quickly you have to identify those hazards though. So that will be written into your policy, like, you have to notify them within, like the insurance company, you have to know that it happened within certain.
Time of occurrence as opposed to time of discovery.
Correct, yeah. So, the liability in coverage is something that, some people think they have, and some people, but we're not sure, but if you have any commercial activity, even if you have liability associated with your house, it doesn't cover if there's commercial activity happening. So the woodlot liability insurance would cover you for that. It covers you if people are using your land, if you have trails, if you have people visiting and they get hurt. It also includes hobby farms. So if you have a hobby farm, you can get the vacant land coverage. And it's forest fire liability, meaning if you're responsible for starting a fire, the liability coverage would pay for those exposures. And while we don't think that most people would be liable if there was any injury to somebody being on your property, the challenge is if they sue you, you have to defend yourself. And so that we've become much more litigious. One time I would have said nobody would have sued you, but I'm not so sure anymore. So, but Mark can speak very clearly to what your risks are, and he's the representative from Broker League who has been assigned for the next year just to work on this program. So he's very happy to speak to anybody and everybody and offer advice, and anybody that's, he's a very, very nice guy. Anybody spoken to him has found him very knowledgeable and very useful. So all those questions I can't answer, I'm going to send you back to Mark. I just give out his name and number like candy. And then there's the corporate member coverages, so there's a whole lot of things, including cyber trucking and, you know, a number of things, legal costs. So even your association could call BrokerLink and get insurance for your association through them? Yes.
Yeah, I think you should have a 100-acre woodlot management. I don't care about the damage. I'm worried about trespassing. And since there's a lot of issue of mandatory, if you stop talking to this and make people being insured for trespasser, and it become mandatory, then the cost go up, and also if it's mandatory, even have it, we can go to the situation that's common in the car insurance, when you have enough scam, car insurance in the state, and not sort of what's doing. And then you can see somebody coming in my woodlot and take an accident and ignore an insurance. Why don't you lobby against trespassing?
Lobbying against trespassing.
That's your own risk, your own risk. Now, people can trespass on the land. I welcome people to go to my woodlot, I don't care. But like that's the trespassing is unknown risk. This is the main issue. Because if you make, if it's the insurance spread, the insurance, then you will be forced. Because you're forced to be, then the cost will increase, like every insurance cost increase. And it's going to be a major issue for small woodlot owners. I would prefer that you, woodlot association, lobby very hard against the fact that people trespass. They welcome trespass is your own risk.
So trespass acts are provincial in nature, so we have lobbied in New Brunswick trying to get the same regulations they have for agriculture. We used to have, they took them away, so we're still trying to get those back where you don't have to sign, people have to get permission to be on a woodlot. But we don't have that, and so I don't know what your trespass regulations in the PEI are. And so we offered the insurance because, we went looking for the insurance because we have woodlot owners asking us, where can I get this insurance? So that was the reason for accessing the vacant land liability insurance, because we had people looking for it, we didn't know where to.
But this new woodlot is in Brunswick, it's not big government trying to modify. I mean, not writing trespassing, you don't say market is fine, but trespassing is your own risk. Is there a potential for that, or is that not big for it?
It's potential, and even if it is at your own risk, that's why I said it's not that you'll be found liable, but if somebody names you in a suit, the fact that it was at their own risk doesn't prevent them from naming you in a suit, and you still have to go and defend yourself.
Yeah, but
I guess we'll have to stop recording and talk for one-on-one, we're running out of time, sorry.
thank you.
Wrap it up there.
So there's also accidental death and dismemberment coverage that you can get if you're interested. And then there's the group home and auto. The group home and auto is insurance on your home and your cars, and basically you get a 10% discount as part of the group. And if you go to the website, the BrokerLink website, there is this page for Canadian Forest Owners Group Commercial Insurance Program. So that's what you'll see when you go there. And as I promised, there's Mark's contact information. He is the most knowledgeable guy on forest and vacant land, so you can contact him. And if you want these numbers later, I can give them to you in other forms too. And then we did do a webinar with Mark. So it's on our website, and if you go to the videos, there's a video of Mark talking about the insurance again, and he answered some questions as part of the webinar. So, that's all I have.
I'm very impressed. One, equal to